Welcome to the Amplify to Seven Figures podcast, where we look inside the mind of seven-figure entrepreneurs to see how they amplify their business and amplify their life. Let's welcome today's guest. Hey, welcome to the Amplify to Seven Figures podcast. Today, I am here with the amazing CEO of Jaxx Productions, Marley Jaxx. He is a highly acclaimed business acceleration coach from the pages of Forbes to the main stage of Funnel Hacking Live. Marley works with the clients to create an evergreen content machine and predictable cash flow system inside their business, aka the most proven guru hidden cash flow system built on effortless, high ticket customer ascension. Welcome to the show, Marley Jaxx.
Hello, Paul Ace. How are you?
Oh, you almost went into song then. Like I feel like we always have this sing for song. So me and Marley were at an event a couple of years back and started singing. What was it? A Whole New World or something like that? Yep,
that was one of them. And then there was some other Disney Little Mermaid. It was a crazy night.
It was. And to be fair, we were right. It is a whole new world over the last 12 months.
Yeah. It took a turn, didn't it?
Definitely. So Marley, I wanted to dive in straight away. Now, like I said, I did a little bit of research on you. Obviously, I know you already. But I was like, what's Marley's journey been like? So I found this little video that had 647,000 views, which you're like, have I got one that big? So it's got 647,000 views that you made back in 2016, talking about Canva. And then I also then compared it to one that you made yesterday, talking about Canva.
Oh. That's perfect.
Which is kind of ironic. Now, what the big thing that I noticed in that is the production value between the two. It's just a tad different. Yeah. What do you think people need a high production value to actually succeed on YouTube now?
No, and that video, the first one that you would have seen from 2016, I filmed that with I probably had a couple different angles because I was trying to be fancy. But some of my first videos I filmed with my iPhone propped up on a stack of books with a lamp with no lampshade. And so when people ask me, like, what's the best camera to use? I'm like, the one you have. Honestly, like some of my videos that still even get the most views were iPhone or I have a Sony 5000 camera that was like $500 or something, and I still use it to this day. Or a lot of the time I'll also film from my computer. The videos that you see now that have the high production quality, we have a studio in Salt Lake City that our clients film out of. So I use that as well to show, like, here's what we can create for clients as well by, walking the walk too.
Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people get scared. I was like, oh yeah, but I need this big fancy rig and everything like that. Like you say, like one of your best performing videos was just an iPhone, which is awesome. So do you think that change in production quality, you say you got the studio now, was that a gradual change, or was it something where you just was like, do you know what, I'm going to go get a studio and max it all out?
No, definitely. And even if I didn't have the studio, like this is like our team that we do this for our high ticket clients, but there's still videos. I even have a video I need to film today that I'm just going to be filming from my iPhone, and I have a tripod with a ring light. And, even I've even found that for some YouTubers or influencers that film videos, that when it's just them in their office or in their living room or whatever, that also makes them relatable. Because it's natural and it's achievable for the people watching it. So and even the videos that you see me filming, the production value is higher because of the camera, but like I'm just in a house.
Yeah. And one of the things that struck me, over the last 12 months as well, you started to share a lot more of yourself.
Yeah.
Your own stories and things like that. And I know some of those stories were hard to share. Mm-hmm. But it's like, have you noticed a difference in the way people are towards you since you started to share more of yourself?
Definitely. Yeah. And it's like when they trust the person, they'll also trust the message. Like I could be speaking the same thing and educating and ranting about the same topics that have to do with business, but because they also see the human behind that message, that a lot of my audience followed me through my divorce and through moving across the country and through changing my name and trying to find my new identity. There were a lot of people that could relate to pieces of that story, even if they, doesn't mean that they had to go through a divorce, but like when that happened, when I went through my divorce, and of course there was so much fallout and change from that, I didn't want to become the divorce girl. So I decided that I was just going to be vulnerable and transparent in my journey. And I wanted to control the narrative of making it a story of perseverance just by showing like, you can do hard things too. And so people who, like I said, it's not that you have to go through a divorce to relate to it, but to be able to overcome difficult things and still stand tall in it, but also have moments where you can share like, this is hard and I'm a little bit emotional right now. It's like, it kind of gives them permission too, to see the vulnerability.
Yeah. And I think that's really, people want that more, right? Don't they? They want that. And that's something, to be honest, even I struggle with still is like just being vulnerable. What's intriguing is, so the logo that you've got now, like, just refresh my memory, but when you had the previous brand, you didn't have the lion on there, did you?
No, I never would have thought of it.
So is the meaning behind the lion?
Yeah, and it's funny, like, I didn't go into it thinking like my new name's going to be Jaxx and there's going to be a lion. That's what it did. Like it evolved into that. So what happened was when I changed my name, and I just announced it over a video, of course, video.
Yeah.
But what happened was it was a month before I was speaking at Funnel Hacking Live, like the biggest speaking engagement of my life. It's like this pivotal moment in my career while I'm also going through the biggest personal transition of my life, which was very hard to balance both. And Brene Brown says to share the scars and not the open wounds. But I've also tried tiptoeing around the open wounds because that's what's real. That's reality. To come back months later and go, look what I was going through then, but now I'm fine. Like, that's not vulnerability. So I shared publicly even before I felt fully ready. However, I was ready enough that I think there's a fine line between hot mess and powerful message. So I was at a place where I could still control the emotions, but not in the place where I could share like, here's everything that happened. And there will always be still things that like, that's just for me. It doesn't have to be public. But it was 3 weeks before I spoke on stage at Funnel Hacking Live, and I needed to change my name. Like I needed to have a different name that I presented myself with on stage. And so 3 weeks before, I changed my name on social media, and then I went silent for a few days, which had people going, what is this? What happened? What is this name? Who's Jaxx? And then I posted a video a few days later, and it was just telling the story. And I said, it was the beginning of 2020. Of course, we had no idea what was about to come around the corner, but I was like 2020 vision, and everyone's saying new year, new me. And I have an announcement to share that I really am stepping into a new me. A lot of people have asked, like, what is Jaxx? Where does this name come from? Why did you change your name? And the best way to sum that up and answer it is that my marriage ended, and I'm going to be stepping into this new identity, finding out who I am now. I'm about to speak on this stage. And I also shared the story behind the name of where it came from. And that's where the lion came from. So I shared that I was just like, I was racking my brain for like, how do I change my name? Do I like go to my middle name? Do I go to my maiden name? Do I pick like another family name? Actually, I don't think I've actually shared this, but some of the names that were kind of I was thinking about were, my middle name is Lynn. So Marley Lynn. My mom's maiden name. Oh my gosh, I'm like totally giving out passwords. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Those like password security questions. I considered that. My grandfather's name is George, and I have a very close relationship with my grandfather. So I was like, Marley George. I don't know, like, should I think that? But I was with my mom one day, and of course my mom and I are very close, and she was very, comforting for me during that time. I was like, Mom, I just need you to name me again. I'm going through a rebirth. You named me once, name me again, whatever name you come up with, I'll take it. But I want my name to make me feel the way that this lion makes me feel. I have my phone background is a picture of this lion. And if this is video, it's the exact same picture that's behind me. And And I just saw this picture of this lion in a store one day and was like, just stunned, like stopped in my tracks. Wow, that lion is gorgeous. And so I have him in my office, and he's been in videos, and I've talked about him, and just like, oh, I love this lion. And he's just so beautiful and fierce and powerful. And funny, over Instagram, people would be like, what's his name? And I'm like, I don't know. You can't name that lion. It takes away its power. You're going to name him like Leo or Simba or something? No, you can't come up with a name for that lion. So I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, Mom, I just need you to name me again. But like, I want a name that makes me feel the way this lion makes me feel. And no joke, 30 seconds later, she says, Jaxx. And I'm like, where did that come from? She's like, it just popped in my head. Like, I wasn't even thinking. I've never even heard of that name before. And we started like playing around with like autographs and signing the name. And we decided it would be 2 X's. And then we looked up on Google what the the meaning of it is. And it's someone who can overcome any challenge that life throws its way. And I was like, that's how I want to approach life. Okay, that's it, Mom. And when I shared that, then people heard the story and about the lion, and then they would start sending me things, or even just, messages with emojis of lions. And it just kind of became the symbol. I didn't really go out and choose it. It followed in the story.
And yeah, that where the whole, I think symbolism as well in itself, right, is so important as you build in, because we're all about interviewing 7-figure entrepreneurs, and one of the things that I think separates 6 and 7-figure entrepreneurs is that culture and that identity with the brand, and symbolism of the lion. It seems like that, and also the get jacked. Did that develop at Funnel Hacking Live, like when you started having the t-shirts and all those kind of things?
Yeah, that also wasn't me. That was like the audience. It was just so fun. I do a challenge every few months, and the challenge also overlapped with this announcement and with Funnel Hacking Live coming up. And as people started learning my new name, some people in the audience, like if I would say something or, something powerful in a message or something, they'd be like, oh my God, I just got jaxed. And then the audience started saying it. And I was like, that's hilarious. Okay. And then so we put it on a t-shirt.
And so let's just dive into that challenge part a little bit more, because that's something you've been doing for probably is it 2 years now?
No, I started doing it October, November 2019. So a year and a half.
Yeah, year and a half. Yeah, because I was actually working with a client who went to speak to you about like how you were running your challenge as well. So I know that was a really interesting experience. So going through that, and that's developed into the VIP code and where you are right now. So just tell us a little bit more about the VIP code, and how does that really help people and guide people on their journey?
The VIP code stands for, it's an acronym for Video Impact Profit. That when people can leverage video for lead generation, they honestly can have an evergreen lead generation machine. Look at how you brought up my Canva video from 2016 that has 600 something thousand views. I made that video once and it sits there, and I'm not advertising it every day. I'm not running ads to it. It is utilizing YouTube as a search engine. People are searching for that content all day, every day. Canva alone has, like, depending on the month, like millions of search every month for tutorials or things about the software. But then you can do the same thing for any topic, like dog training, lawyer, doctors. Like I have a client that's a marketing agency for churches, and his, like, even though it's a kind of small niche, his channel is blowing up. Or, I mean, even it's not that you need to have a large channel either, because that client is a good example, church marketing. He made $11,000 in his first 3 weeks on YouTube directly from people coming into his lead magnets, into his email list, directly from YouTube. And his channel at that time had like 270 subscribers. Wow. So it's not that you need to have a big audience. It's just that you need to create content based on what people are searching for. And those people are so qualified, and then also so warm because they're seeing these videos. So in my challenge, in the VIP code, in every step of our value ladder, we teach people how to turn these videos into evergreen lead generation machines, and then how to sell high ticket from it.
And that transition part, do you think that transition into the high ticket becomes easy because those people are already so warm?
Yeah, and that's the most exciting thing. Like a lead from a Facebook ad, like a cold lead from Facebook versus someone who at least spent a few minutes watching you on YouTube. Mm-hmm. The resistance is so much lower. And then depending on, and we talk about different kind of cash flow systems, like, you know, using a challenge or a 7-day live launch or maybe a virtual event, it's so much easier to ascend them to high ticket because of the front end effort that you're putting in to create that relationship. And it's also passive. Like the videos I made in 2016 are just, they're just working.
Yeah. All about the iPhone.
Yep, that's it.
So why challenges?
Oh, I love challenges because there's so many like subconscious elements in it. So think of the FOMO that people will get when they're in a challenge. And so, for example, my challenge is 21 days. If you're behind on those 21 days and everyone else in the challenge is like, you know, they're on day 10 and you're like trying to catch up on day 5, you're like, oh, I got to catch up with my friends, my peers who are also getting these results. And so there's this FOMO that they got to keep up with it. There's urgency and scarcity inside it. There's also, it's installing habits. You know how they say it takes like 21 days to install a habit?
Sure.
So over 21 days, you're teaching them these skills and abilities, but you're also installing the habit of them consuming your content. Over 21 days, they look to you as this leader or this charismatic personality, and also that they're in the habit of, you know, being part of this community. So when we get close to day 21, you start to like feel this tension of what's next. Like, I don't want to leave this community. Can we keep going, or what's next? And so then it becomes very easy to ascend them to the next step of the value ladder because of the incubator you've created for these clients.
And how does that work? So is it like you do a webinar at the end and then to a book call, or is it like, hey, just DM me, or how do you ascend people to the next stage?
So we do a graduation training because they're over the 21 days, and there are challenges that are different time frames. I personally love 21 days. So at the end, there's a graduation training that we've gotten them this outcome, and here's the next steps. And that's basically a webinar. And you can choose whether it's a $997 does really well, but I even have clients that sell high ticket, like even $12,000. Like people go from a $47 challenge to a $12,000 high ticket thing, but they've proved their value over those 21 days and even gotten them results. Like in my challenge, there's people that have said, I got a 6-figure contract. I got a client for $3,000. Like they paid 47 and they made thousands back. So if I say, hey, sign up for this thing that can make you even more, because I've already gotten those results, it makes it a lot easier to say, here's what I can, you know, help you with from now. So yeah, you can totally do a webinar and straight to a sales page, webinar to a sales call. And then the other thing is if they don't say yes to that, it doesn't mean that it's over. There's also the downsell. So if people are like, yeah, I'm just not ready for the high ticket thing, but I'd love to in the future, instead of being like, okay, cool, well, maybe I'll talk to you later, you can go, well, okay, in the meantime, here's this, and you can downsell them to maybe a monthly recurring or a different program.
So where do you take people without going back into the secrets too much, but like if they're not ready for that, because I noticed you've got a $47 a month recurring at the moment. Is that where you take people to, or is that now part of the challenge?
Yeah, so we in the graduation training, we'll offer for people who are qualified to come to another private training where they can get our high ticket coaching program. And then we actually don't even, if people aren't qualified, then we don't invite them to the training. So we actually do it a little bit in the DMs to say like, hey, we notice you're really active and like this might be a good thing for you. Like here's a different graduation training. But then the main graduation training for everyone, we'll bring them into, before we had it as a $997, and then I restructured and made it into a monthly recurring, the VIP code for $47 a month.
I love that. And then there's something that I noticed that is new, that you've started doing. I've done a lot of research looking through your stuff. Oh. One of the things that I've noticed is you started gamifying the experience.
That's like my favorite thing now. Yeah.
Yeah. And so firstly, what made you do that? And secondly, just talk through like how it works, and then is it working? Is it making a difference?
Yes, so very much. I'm so thrilled. So I mentioned that we used to have a course for $9.97, and it was great. It was like this big vault of information, but the problem that I found was that people weren't always implementing. And I'm totally guilty of that too, of buying a program with good intentions, saying this is going to be awesome, and then life happens, or I get distracted, or just forget. And so I wanted to create a program where we built a community and then also built gamification around the community, especially entrepreneurs. There's no harm in a little healthy competition. Yeah. But also showing like, this is first of all, these are the results that you can get when you do these things. And I know that there's going to be times where that feels hard, that like filming videos is going to be hard, and writing your scripts is going to be hard, and finding an editor or editing the videos yourself. Like there's going to be things that are going to be hard, but look at this. Like you can build an evergreen lead generation machine. You know what else is hard? The launch hamster wheel lifestyle, running Facebook ads that don't work. So like just pick your hard. But here's the thing. I'm also going to award and reward you every step of the way. So module 1, when you finish, when you call your shot and you submit, because we have these like done for you calling your shot campaigns that you just like plug in your information and then publish. And we're like, submit that to us so we can review it, give you some feedback, help you out with it. And then when you do, we're going to send you, again, I don't know if everyone can see this on video. We're going to send you a calling my shot pin. Like we send them when they sign up, we send them, a lanyard, and then we have this like awards and rewards path that when you finish module 1, the calling my shot module, we're going to send you a calling my shot pin. The next module is creating your customer journey. When you do that, we're going to send you the yellow brick road pin. The next one is about your video scripting. We're going to send you the video scripting system pin. So I kind of joked about this, that I'm like, I don't want you guys to have shiny object syndrome anymore, because I know there's so many distractions. So I'm literally going to send you shiny objects every time that you move forward in this. And guys, I know you're going to see the results, and you also have this community to lean on and support you all the way through. And when there are those times that feel hard, just lean into it and know that like it's supposed to be. Nothing worth having comes easy. This doesn't happen overnight, but this works, and I want to push you through all the way to it. And it's been amazing. We've been in the program for a few weeks, and people are so excited about getting their pins, and they're getting results faster than ever because they're taking action.
And then on top of that as well, you've got awards that go out to people as well for certain milestones. And that's something that seeing a lot more entrepreneurs do. Do you think that the biggest reason for that as well is because of the FOMO of the other people, or is it the Roger Bannister thing of, the 4-minute mile? So people are like, oh, okay, now I can do it.
Yeah. And that's so fun to see. Like, look at these people that are making, and our awards are for like when you get to $10,000 months, $50,000 months, $1 million in revenue. And I know certainly for me, when I saw the 2 Comma Club award for the first time, it was my first funnel hacking live that I went to, and saw that people who were just like me were crossing the stage, and like they had come from 9 to 5s. They had come from totally the 4-minute mile that showed me what was possible and raised the bar, and then also gave me the pathway for how to achieve that. So I wanted to be able to replicate that, to go, this is all you have to do. And I know there's going to be times where it's hard, but pick your hard, and I'm going to hold your hand throughout the whole way.
I like that phrase, pick your hard. Is that something you've come up with?
No, that's actually my friend Christy Code Red. And I don't know, maybe she found it from something else too. Christy Code Red is in weight loss. And she says a similar thing about like, being fat is hard, being skinny is hard, eating healthy is hard. Pick your hard. And so I kind of borrowed it from her, but I've seen it all over the internet too. I don't know where it originated.
She's actually going to be on the show in a few weeks as well. So that's awesome.
She's the best. Yeah.
I'm really excited for that. So Marley, we're just going to go a little bit further ahead into the future. So with you being a 7-figure entrepreneur, we really want to see what's inside your mind of where you think things are going, right? So these trends are changing probably quicker than ever. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is going to be the biggest shift in online business in the next 1 to 5 years?
There's technology that I can't even comprehend. Like I think I heard something about how technology is increasing so quickly. Like before it was like double in this many years and double, and now it's like I can't even comprehend how fast it is. AI, artificial intelligence, and being able to look at data, and like I have a friend that when someone buys something and it imports to a spreadsheet, and AI can look at their patterns of purchasing and behavior towards what, like, I don't even understand how it works, but I know that it's going to grow to a place where we're going to have so much more data and research on our customer. And then I wonder if that could also be dangerous, like all the data that's out there. Certainly that's it's already dangerous, I'm sure. So I think there's that, which I can't even tell you what that's going to evolve into. Imagine like in the 70s, someone thinking that we could have these personal little like television things attached to our hands.
Big or whatever.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah. I can't even comprehend. So I think AI is going to be a thing. I think that voice, like, look at how Clubhouse blew up really quickly. Look at how we have like Alexa and Google and these servant robots that were like, hey, Alexa, what's the weather? Maybe we're going to have like robots in our house that actually do things. I don't know. I think about that and I'm like, it's crazy how unpredictable, like, where we'll even be in a year or 2 years or 5 years from now with all the technology that's coming.
And do you think it's going to change the way you do what you do? Do you think there'll be, for example, maybe even instead of you going out to a job, like there's only one person that has to go out to the job and then they set up the automations that do part of that? Or do you think there's always going to be that human element to everything that you do because of the nature of what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I hope there's always a human element, but so when I was a dental hygienist before starting my business, I thought about that, wondering if one day dental hygienists wouldn't even be needed, that someone just like come to the dentist, hook up to a machine and just like, why not? Like, I'm sure that will happen, but I think there's still going to need to be a human for, like, hopefully the interaction, the relationship, the emotion. But also I think there's, I don't know, robots that can show emotion. This is getting really deep and like way out of my wheelhouse.
Like I say, we like to dive into stuff that maybe you not spoke about on other podcasts as well.
Oh, definitely not. No one's talking about this.
So yeah, just noticing as well your testimonials on your site, right? A lot of the things that people said was about Marley and how professional Marley was, and that kind of thing. And I think going back to what you're saying about automation, that can't be automated. That personal connection that you have with each and every individual person is probably one of your unique selling points, right?
I'd like to think so. It's important to me that I know the people and have a relationship with them. And it actually surprised me that not everyone is like that. Sometimes you get to know people and you're sometimes, it can even be like alarming when you're like, wait, you don't do that? Like, you don't respond to messages quickly or return phone calls? Like, isn't that just natural? I don't know. Like, it's not, I've come to learn that is something about me that is a superpower that I enjoy in my interactions with people. But in a way, maybe it's also something that's a detriment. Maybe people who aren't so hasty to respond to things quickly are more productive. I don't know. But yeah, that is something that I've just been like, yep, that's how I am. And I hope that continues no matter how business grows.
And I think that's one of the things that's going to help you grow, even to 8, 9 and beyond. Keep it going. So Marley, what do you think was the biggest thing that stopped you getting to 7 figures sooner? Awareness,
where I got my validation from. I came to realize in 2020, I think, when the world had to slow down and we as a result had to slow down and had a lot of time to reflect. And also because that was a really pivotal time for me right after I had gone through a divorce, had lots of time to kind of reflect and go through some therapy. And I realized, and I think that this is actually common for a lot of entrepreneurs, that perhaps we start our businesses from a place of having something to prove or looking for validation, whether that's to our parents or to a teacher or someone that told us that we couldn't, or just society in general, like go get a 9 to 5, have a good salary, 2 weeks vacation, and then being like, no, wait a minute, I think I can do better than that. Watch me. And so I obviously unconscious of this at the time. And there's so many things, of course, that you're not conscious of until you grow through it. But I certainly had my business and was operating from a place of having something to prove and finding validation through clients or money or relationships. And then I think, or at least I hope, that at some point entrepreneurs get to a point where they're like, what is this really about? Like what actually fuels me? Where do I want to, where do I find my self-worth from? Because that's not sustainable to find your self-worth in money or people or, things outside of yourself. And so I think that awareness and clarity of, well, wait, where do I actually want to get my self-worth from? And what do I want my relationships and life to look like with my business fueling it, not running it? That was a big shift, because I think also entrepreneurs, and also I'm speaking for myself, can get really soaked up in the hustle.
Yeah.
But then, like, what's it all for? Do I actually have to work hard? Do I actually have to work this hard to be successful? What if I just loved what I did and had a good team around me, good people around me, that like hard work didn't have to be hard to be successful?
And do you think you came to that realization because you're having working less then as well?
Yeah. And finding, like, what do I actually want to do? I can't remember who was saying this word. They're like, someone called them a hardaholic. Like, you make things hard for you on purpose because of the chaos. It's like the adrenaline that comes through chaos. Yeah. But it's like, what if you actually just operated from a different mindset, that you can do what you love and still be successful without it having to be dramatic to get there? And so I think I kind of took that too, to be like, well, wait, what are my values? Like, what if I actually don't need to be, well, like, I don't need the 7-figure plaques. Like, what if I just want the community that I serve and help them to find success? And that was a shift for me, that I was like, I want to build the people that build the businesses that change the world. For me to change the world doesn't mean I have to reach 8 billion people, but I could reach a small community and let them be the ripple effect, knowing that, like, I played my part in changing the world.
I love that. And that is one of the things about the reason I asked you to be on the podcast, is because I believe, you've got those values. And a lot of people can only get to a certain level because they don't have that. And you probably can get to 7 figures without caring about your customers, but then you're going to hit, right. Yeah. You're going to hit a point where, like, the ones who scale to 8 figures, like I'm 100% sure you're going to be going to 8 and 9 figures over the next few years, is because you care so much about your customers. So that kind of brings us on to this next question, which is what, and I can ask this in 2 ways. When you die, what do you want people to say about you?
I really appreciate, like, kind of what you said, and that people do look at me for being genuine. That I want people to see that like, there's not an ulterior motive. And sure, money is a scoreboard, but it's also a scoreboard for the impact that you're making, and can be a resource to reinvest into making a bigger impact. But that's also, it's like, that's again the ripple effect. Like, I want to help other businesses to make this, like, legacy impact and longevity profit, because I've been in the hamster wheel where, like, you make some good money and then you sink. And so having that consistency and the trajectory, knowing that, like, that's still going to grow, and that you have more resources to grow in other ways. Like, if I was still in that hamster wheel, I don't know if I would have had the capacity to do the inner work that I need to do to get to the next level. I love how Alex Sharfin says, if you don't have the business you have, it's because you haven't become the person who can run it yet. my identity has absolutely changed. Like even my name has changed, and there was a shift in who I was from that. If I still operated from the place that I was 2 years ago, I wouldn't have the business that I have today. And I know that I'm still constantly growing and evolving, and I'm great. And I create the space and the time to do that inner work, not knowing what's coming, externally in my business as a result of that. But I just feel pulled to what else can I love how business is a game of personal development, and like I don't know the next steps, but I just know that I'm going to keep walking them because I love this game.
Yeah, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take the first step. And even at 7-8 figures, then you're still going, well, I'm just further up the staircase, but I'm just taking the next step and the next step.
Yeah.
And occasionally we fall down the stairs.
Absolutely. And then those little bumps and bruises are...
Climb yourself back up.
Yeah.
So Marley, firstly, you've been an absolutely fantastic guest, and hopefully we've gone into some questions that made you think a little bit as well. So just to finish off on a slightly lighter tone, what would you say would be one quick win that someone could take away and use in their business today, and just to get themselves moving forward?
Cool. Well, because I'm all about helping build an evergreen lead generation machine. Like if you have leads, if you have a perpetually filled pipeline, try saying that 10 times fast. Then you're not going to be so stressed about business because you have, the audience around you that wants what you have to offer. So getting on video, and because that's part of it's going to be to build, to learn your voice, to reach your audience, but then also to be able to utilize this as a tool that people can be finding your content all day, every day, especially when you use YouTube as a search engine. Look up, how are people searching for content? Even if you go right into the YouTube search bar or Google search bar and you type in, let's say, I have a dog training client, how to train your dog. YouTube has this, autocomplete function where it tries to finish your sentences. How to train your dog, and then you'll see that drop down. How to train your dog to sit, how to train your dog to stay, how to train your dog to speak. Those are all video ideas, and those are all populated based on what people are searching for. So go do something like that for whatever your niche, your business, your industry is, and you can create content, create videos on all of those pieces of all those topics. And in that video, have your call to action, click the link below for some sort of freebie that gets them on your email list. And that's going to be a great way for people to be able to find you organically because they're searching for that content all day, every day. If you can position your video to show up, every video is an evergreen lead generation machine.
And that is a perfect segue into, so Marley, from the beautiful value that you've given to our audience today, where can people find out more about you?
Oh, perfect. Well, please follow me on Instagram and YouTube. Look up Marley Jaxx. And I'd love for people to come check out the VIP code, thevipcode.com, because everything that I just talked about is in our membership, that we've gamified it to help you to actually take action and get those results. And I want to see you with the big plaques that we've created to celebrate your results.
Love it. Fantastic. Marley, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing so much value, and also really looking in the mind of what a 7-figure entrepreneur is all about. You've been listening to Marley Jaxx and Paul Ace, and we will see you on the next show. Thanks for listening to the Amplify to 7 Figures podcast. To access the show notes, episodes, and this month's giveaway, head over to www.amplifyto7figures.com. Remember, amplify your business, amplify your life.